Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer number 5010-355-643 plain bearing 5 knuckle full mortise wide throw steel base hinge. Let's dissect the part number a little bit. First of all, 5010 means that this is a full mortise standard weight wide throw steel base hinge from Bommer. The 355 is a reference to the size, and then the 643 is the color, satin bronze, a blackened satin bronze, a real attractive finish, as you can see. So this hinge, 5010, it means that it's a steel based hinge. No, that doesn't mean that. It actually does. It's part of it. Steel base hinge. It is a full mortise hinge. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there that the hinge, when the leaves are brought parallel, are meant to be mortised to the edge of the door and to the frame. Okay. The 10 means it's a wide throw hinge, that the hinge is indeed wider than it is tall. The 355 means it's 3.5 tall by 5 inch wide, and it's important that you get the 3.5 first. The height goes first, so that you don't call it a 5 by 3.5. It's properly called height by width, 3.5 by 5. 643 is that satin bronze, the blackened satin bronze. Okay, and it also means that it's a steel base hinge as well. Okay, really nice, attractive finish from Bommer on that. This is the 5010 also means it's a standard weight hinge, meaning that the thickness of the hinge leaf is going to be about 123 thousandths thick. Yes, 123 thousandths. That is called out on the link to the template, which is below this video. That template also shows you the locations for the hinge screws. This would be considered a template pattern, a typical pattern like this. This is a plain bearing hinge. No bearing packets in there whatsoever, just a typical plain bearing hinge. Okay. 5 knuckle, that's self-explanatory. These are available with a lot of different options. Almost anything really can be made in terms of radiused corners. This is obviously square corner. Height and width combinations, finishes, ball bearings. You can get 3 knuckle hinges. You can get brass base hinges, stainless steel base hinges. You can get options in terms of the tips. That's called a button tip. You can get acorn and steeple and urn tip. You can get options as it pertains to a security pin. If this was an exterior door that swung out, you'd probably want to prevent the pin from being removed unintentionally. You could very easily drive that out, and when you install this, you're probably going to. If you had an exterior door that swung out, you'd probably go with a non-removable pin so that you could set the hinge to all but eliminate the possibility of driving that pin out. Okay. Like I said, available in several different finishes. So wide throw hinges, they're going to be used in a couple of instances when, and most commonly, you've got a door installed in a frame in its normal location, but you have a thicker than standard amount of casing that you're dealing with, or maybe a brick mold situation. So that the problem is you need to get the door out and around that extra thick casing. 3.5 by 5 inch wide is a very common size when compared to a 3.5, 3.5. Gives you an additional, 3/4 inch really of clearance. It kicks the vertical line of pivoting, or the vertical axis of pivoting out an additional 3/4 inch. Okay, so that's very typical. You could have a 3.5 tells me it's probably an interior door, and you might have some elaborate casing or some sort of casework around the opening. Another not so uncommon situation is where you've got a door and a frame, but the door is set further into the frame than standard. A door and frame, if you ran your hand across the face of it on the pull side, it's almost flush. It's not exactly flush, but it's almost flush within 3/32 of an inch or some small margin like that. I've seen doors installed in frames where a 100-year-old home in Florida, the wall thickness is 18 or 12 inch on the first floor of a 3-story building, 3-story home that's 100 years old. Those doors are set in deeper. Those applications require wide throw hinges as well. So either of those instances is where you're going to commonly see it. And if you're thinking about wide throw hinges, you might need to think about extended lip strike plates as well. The last thing I'd like to point out to you is the Bommer logo. Right above it, it says Made in USA, a fact that Bommer is quite proud of, as am I, to represent them. If you have any questions on the Bommer number 5010-355-643 wide throw hinge or any other Bommer product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.